Secure software development lifecycle sounds like a massive project. In reality, most development teams already do a good chunk of it. They just don't have it documented or connected together. Today we're talking about how ISO27034, the application security standard, maps to the development lifecycle stages you're probably already running, and where the gaps usually show up. Let's start with what ISO27034 actually says in plain language. The core idea is that security isn't a single phase or a single gate at the end. It's a set of activities layered across every stage of development, from requirements all the way through to retirement of the application. The standard introduces a few concepts: application security controls, which are specific security requirements or safeguards; an organization normative framework, which is essentially your organization's reusable playbook of security requirements; and an application normative framework, which is the project-specific subset of that playbook tailored to a particular application. If we translate that into plain English for a normal development team, it basically means this: have a standard list of security requirements that you reuse across every project. Tailor that list for each specific application based on its risk profile, and then verify that those requirements are actually being met at each stage of development. Now let's walk through the life cycle stages and what security activity belongs at each one. During requirements and planning, the security activity is basic threat modeling, classifying what kind of data the application will handle, and identifying regulatory scope, things like PCI for payment data, HIPAA for health data, or GDPR for personal data of EU residents. During design, the key activity is architecture risk analysis. This means identifying trust boundaries, mapping data flows, and reviewing how authentication and authorization are designed. We cover this in much more depth in a dedicated episode. During development, the focus shifts to secure coding standards and static application security testing, also known as SAST, which analyzes source code for security issues. During build and integration, this is where software composition analysis comes in, scanning your third-party and open source libraries, along with running SAST as part of your continuous integration pipeline. During testing, dynamic application security testing, or DAST, comes into play, along with infrastructure scanning of your staging environments. During release and deployment, you want a final security review, configuration checks, and verification that secrets management is properly set up. During operations and maintenance, the work becomes ongoing vulnerability management, periodic rescanning, and maintaining a steady patch cadence. And finally, during retirement, there's a checklist for data sanitization and properly decommissioning systems so they don't become forgotten, unmonitored risk. Now here's the more interesting part, where companies actually are versus where they think they are. Most teams already have some form of SAST or a code linter running, but very few have an actual process for triaging the findings that come out of it. DAST is often run exactly once, right before launch and then never run again, even as the application continues to change. Third-party library scanning is the most commonly skipped step in the entire life cycle, and ironically, it's also the most commonly exploited. Vulnerable open source components have been at the center of some of the largest security incidents in recent years. Architecture risk analysis is almost always missing entirely. It requires structured facilitation and conversation, not just running a tool, so it tends to fall through the cracks. The fix for all of this isn't buying more tools. Most companies already have enough tooling. The fix is connecting the tools you already run to a documented process with clear ownership and clear remediation timelines. To wrap up, Secure SDLC isn't a rebuild from scratch. It's a connect the dots exercise mapped to a recognized standard. This is exactly where RiskRecap's model fits. You keep running your existing scans, your SAST, your DAST, your software composition analysis, your infrastructure scans. We map those results to your SDLC stages. Identify the gaps against ISO27034 and give you a prioritized roadmap that your board can actually understand.